Hi guys, and welcome back to my little corner of the universe. Today I'm going to be talking about limiting beliefs and how limiting beliefs from your childhood can kind of impact a lot of things in your life, and how I've used subconscious reprogramming to kind of overcome limiting beliefs and work through them. And the story that I'm about to explain is like the story to know me. And if you don't know this story about me, or if I've never talked about it, like, you don't know like the core of who I am. And yeah, so it's kind of a lot, but it definitely explains why I am so obsessed with the subconscious mind, and why I think that it's important for people to learn about, and why I do the things that I do. Limiting beliefs are basically something that we have like deep within our subconscious mind that sometimes we don't know about, and until we like dig deep and uncover them, we're just operating from those limiting beliefs and operating from that subconscious programming. And so when I started doing the inner work and like going to therapy and stuff, there was a lot of things that came up, and like self-discovery. And so my like number one limiting belief that I have had and am still working through is that I am unlovable and that I'm not worthy of love. And this stems very deeply into my childhood and has just kind of like moved through life with me, and has impacted a lot of like relationships and things like that. But anyway, growing up, I was pretty much raised as an only child, but I had half siblings, and I had a brother and a sister. And my brother was like around more. He would come to visit, and like when he was visiting, he would like play with me and whatever. And mind you, they were like much older than me. It's not like we were close in age. They were like at least 10-12 years older than me. I'm not really sure. So I'm sure it was like weird for them to have like a new half sibling. And so I sort of had a relationship with my brother. Like, he was around more and I saw him more growing up. But my sister never wanted a relationship with me. She never came around to family functions. Just didn't want to know me, didn't like want anything to do with me, probably blamed me for, not having like a close relationship with our dad. And I don't know her side of it, but this was just me growing up. So I knew, like, my parents were always like very open about like their past and their past relationships and whatever. And so I always knew that I had half siblings, but I was like raised in a only child household. And so like growing up, I just felt like there was something wrong with me, and felt like that people like wouldn't love me or didn't care about me because like my own blood didn't love me or care about me. And so, and like I didn't know this, like I didn't know that that's what I was like operating from, but like now as like an adult, like looking back, like this is just the pattern of my life. And so when I was little, I was always like, okay, like when I'm older, I'll reach out and like we'll have a relationship, and like of course she's gonna want to know me and whatever. We're gonna have like a sister relationship because like I've always wanted that. And when I'm older, when I'm an adult, like that's what's gonna happen. So like kind of like my whole childhood, I was just like, oh, like we don't have a relationship now, but like one day we will. But unfortunately, that did not happen. Going into my senior year of high school, she passed away. And so I never got that relationship, and my like only time consciously seeing my sister was at her funeral, so that was like a little weird also. But I just always had this like deep-seated limiting belief that I was unlovable, wasn't worthy, and like I obviously always like wanted that relationship, and then I never got the chance to actually have that relationship, which was like difficult and just like a weird thing to process. And like of course back then my family like never really talked about things, or like didn't offer, I don't know, no one talked about it. And so I started like working through that like with my therapist, and that kind of dynamic plays out in a lot of my different like friendships and relationships. And like when someone doesn't like me and I want them to like me, or I want a relationship with them but they don't want a relationship with me, I'm very much like wounded inner child, and I feel it like more deeply. And that was definitely one of the reasons why my last boss and I didn't, like why I was like more hurt by how she treated me, because like I wanted to have a good relationship with her, because I don't know, it would have made our lives easier, and also I just like felt a connection with her, but she like very much didn't want to have a relationship with me, felt like she didn't care about me. So I like took it more personally, because I just felt like, again, it was like an inner child wound that was like replaying again, and as an adult. But like at this point in my life I had the tools that I needed to kind of like work through it, and not, I mean, it still hurt, but it wasn't as like deep as like my like sister wound. So yeah, so I realized I had this like limiting belief that I was unlovable, unworthy, and that people didn't really want to know me. And so that is something that I've been working on with my subconscious mind, like reprogramming it into believing that I am worthy, like I am lovable, just like I am who I am, and that is enough. And that's like one of the affirmations that I always use, because it is really hard to reprogram something that you were like essentially like born believing about yourself, because of like a certain situation that you grew up with, and it was just like reinforced so many times, and like, you know, like building on that like foundation of like not being good enough and not feeling worthy to like have relationships with people. So that is like a big thing that I've like worked on with my subconscious mind, and how like I'm starting to feel like better about myself and more worthy and more lovable. And like obviously it's not an overnight fix, because my entire childhood was like that belief, so it takes a while to like reprogram that. But also with not having that relationship and like wanting it so bad, and just like you think you have time, like you think that you will have all this time to like tell people how you feel, and like to have relationships with people, and to like tell them that you love them and whatever, and you really don't have time. And so that's something that I'm really grateful for, is that like since her death I have been way more open about my feelings and things with the people that are in my life. Like I'm always like going to tell like my friends and my family that I love them and I care about them, because you genuinely never know the last time you're going to speak to someone, and you think you have time to like, I don't know, love someone, and then it just, yeah, life happens or death happens, and then that is just, you don't have that. So as much as that her death like changed me, it also like made me grow and made me realize like you just have to be honest and open about your feelings, and just like tell people you love them. So limiting beliefs are very much a real thing, and it's definitely something that you can work through, and you know, you can program your mind to feel better about yourself, and you don't have to keep the beliefs that you've had since your childhood. You can always rewire your subconscious and, really change your life. So thank you for being here. That is a story that sometimes is really hard for me to talk about, but I think it's important to have like real life examples of how powerful your subconscious is and like what can happen if you don't really get to the core of your subconscious and realize what your limiting beliefs are, and the power of reprogramming them. So thank you for being here, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.